The 17th of January is just round the corner, but will India see Rahul Gandhi being appointed as the Congress's prime ministerial candidate? Has the young man made up his mind? Joining us now, a close aide and confidant, Sachin Pilot. Thank you very much, Sachin. You were with Rahul in Bangalore through yesterday. Has Rahul made up his mind on whether he's prepared to bite the bullet, or is there now just too much of a crescendo that he has no choice?
I think it is not a question of whether Mr. Gandhi wants to, has he made up his mind, is he willing to. The question is, what does the party decide for him? You know, unlike other political forces in the Congress, it is the party's high command and its workers which decide what will
You know that's not true. Forward. The young man needs to make up his mind and be certain of whether he wants to be the prime ministerial candidate. The party has been wanting him to do different things. The Prime Minister and Mrs. Gandhi have both been trying to induct him into government. He's refused because he has a mind of his own, and it is his mind that precedes all else.
But you know, he was declared as Vice President of the Congress Party in the Jaipur session. Now, it is not whether he wanted to become Vice President. We all wanted him to take larger responsibility, and that's why he was made the Vice President.
So what do you want this time?
Now, on the 17th of January, I made it very clear, my fellow colleagues in the party have made it very clear that we certainly want him to take a larger role. We want to fight the election under his leadership. But ultimately, what announcement and when it will happen, you'll have to be a bit more patient to see what we decide. Ultimately.
There are those in the Congress, like senior leader Digvijay Singh, who believe that appointing Rahul the prime ministerial candidate at this time, when defeat seems near certain for the Congress and the Congress is at its weakest keel, is not a good idea. Why do you think it's a good idea?
Well, first of all, I think it's a bit premature to prejudge what might happen in the polls. Writing off anybody is the easiest thing to do, but the Congress party, I think, has the substance and the scope and depth that perhaps is not known to many, that we will come back and we will fight for a win. Mr. Gandhi's position in the party is very clear. We will fight the polls under his leadership. There is no doubt about that. Whether it's Mr. Singh or other people, they are free to have their own opinions, because in every party you have people with different sets of opinions. But ultimately the majority view will prevail.
Answer the substantive point that he raises. The Congress has just been beaten in the assembly elections. Its morale is down as we build up to the Lok Sabha elections. You've got 10 years of anti-incumbency to deal with. There are people who believe that this is the worst time for Rahul Gandhi to be projected as the face, because if there's a big defeat in the reckoning, then it's Rahul Gandhi who will have to take the blame for that.
I don't think he's someone who will shy away from taking responsibility, first of all. Second of all, I think the post of the Prime Minister is not a matter of life and death for Mr. Gandhi or Mrs. Gandhi, as you know.
No, but you're not answering my question. Why is it, according to you, a good idea for Rahul Gandhi to be projected at this time as the Prime Ministerial candidate? Whether it happens or not is different. Just on the principle of the question, why do you think now is a good time?
Well, because we have to go for elections in the next 2-3 months, and I think under his leadership, the Congress party can be united as under nobody else, and he is one person who can galvanize the cadre and make us fight election that we can win. But decisions about the post, about the timing, etc., as Mrs. Gandhi has pointed out, that we will declare the name of the Prime Minister candidate from the Congress party at the opportune time. Now, when that time will come, you will know about it.
Is his leadership an asset or a liability for the Congress party? There are those who argue if you project Rahul Gandhi as your Prime Ministerial face, people will immediately compare with, say, Narendra Modi, who's got a 3-term experience as Chief Minister. He's got proven governance credentials, and Rahul will look like a novice in comparison.
See, it will be a foolish person who doubts the fact that Mr. Modi has been elected 3 times as Chief Minister of Gujarat. But that is not to say that he is the most acceptable person in the whole of the country. He will be someone who will be able to stitch up an alliance that will give a stable government to the country. There are multiple questions left out in the open which no one has yet addressed. It is not a popularity contest. It is a contest between 2 ideologies, between 2 sets of political parties who are willing and looking to govern the country as large as India. And Mr. Gandhi's role is a seminal role, because under his leadership, like I said earlier, is something that we all look forward to, because he perhaps is a one unifying factor for the entire Congress across the country.
No, but you aren't answering, Sachin, the substantive issues that I'm raising. Narendra Modi understands how the system works, how files move, how policies are implemented, what works, what doesn't. Rahul Gandhi doesn't understand the system. You, for example, understand governance better now than you did before you became a minister. Do you not accept that?
But you know,
do you not accept that? Just answer my question.
I'll answer the question. No, nobody can take off the tangent. You are on the tangent.
No, but do you not accept
Mr. Chandrasekhar became Prime Minister without becoming a minister?
You understand governance better today.
Mr. Chandrasekhar became Prime Minister without becoming any minister before.
And he was a disaster.
Rajiv Gandhi ji became Prime Minister.
And in his initial years, Rajiv was a disaster.
Mr. Kejriwal has become Chief Minister. So in India, this question of having logged in X number of years in a government office is perhaps not as important as you make it out.
Let me try and put that question to you again. Do you not accept, Sachin, that after having spent a certain number of years in government, you now understand governance, administration, the civil services, what to do, what the loopholes are, what traps are laid by people better than you did when you were outside? Just answer this question.
Let me rephrase my answer. Will that make someone the best person to lead the country? No, I don't think so. Because you need leadership.
You didn't answer my question.
I answered the question the way I want to answer the question. I don't think it's important to have X number of years as an official or as a bureaucrat or as a minister to be able to lead the nation. You need to have the faith of the people, and that is the paramount requirement for the leadership of this country.
Let me give you Rajiv Gandhi's own example. He, by the time of the 1991 election, was far more aware of what he needed to do, far more sure-footed than he was in 84 when he became Prime Minister. And his first term in power was a series of missteps, the consequences of which India is still suffering. Now, given the fact that as a novice he ended up making some mistakes.
So uncharitable, Rahul, because when Mr. Gandhi became Prime Minister of India, he was the hope and aspiration of a new India. He led the 21st century revolution in IT, in telecom, in reforming the country when he was first Prime Minister. A fresh face with a new idea and imagination is what this country needed, and we got it.
Okay, so he captured the imagination of people, also aided by a massive sympathy wave. Rahul Gandhi hasn't been able to capture people's imagination. Why is that?
Well, I think it's your judgment that he's not been able to capture the
I think the verdict in the three states,
well, we have
in
lost
the Hindi heartland and in Delhi, showed just that.
But we won Karnataka, we won Uttarakhand, we won Himachal Pradesh. No one talks about those wins. It's very, very unfair for you to start deciding, well, we lost and we only lost.
Okay,
what about the wins that we've had?
Question.
Who do you give the credit for the wins in Karnataka, Uttarakhand and
Mr. Yedurappa and the manner in which he messed up, making it easier
so what you're saying
for the Congress
is,
to come
everything
back
good
to
that happens because of default of other people. Everything bad happens because of our work.
That's a political answer. You're already
it's a fact.
You're not having a deeper conversation here, Sachin. I'm asking a simple question. In your own estimate, has Rahul Gandhi captured the imagination of the Indian people?
Well, I think he's certainly someone who represents the unifying force of this country, and Congress Party by far is the largest political outfit, and under his leadership the Congress Party will be able to give a government for the third time.
Why do you think Rahul Gandhi deserves to be our Prime Minister? There are people who say he's inexperienced, he's reticent, or has been till recently, he's unsure. Why, in your view, as someone who works with him, do you think Rahul deserves to be Prime Minister?
In outside Parliament.
Where he has amongst the worst track records when it comes to asking questions, when it comes to attendance.
You'll have to wait for me to finish my answer.
Yes.
You can start your question as a follow-on later on. He's someone who encourages dialogue. He's someone who's urged and made sure that young people get into public life. He's made sure that we are able to reach out to people, and he's not someone who's bent upon protocol and procedures and all about formulations and strategies. To be able to reach out, to be able to work without any hesitation in communicating all those issues, and plus not being able to just be circled by one region or one identity or one caste or one language is something that Mr. Gandhi is able to do. Unlike some of the other leaders who are restricted to one state or two states or one region. Now that, I think, in India is a very, very important asset to have.
You want an example of someone who's captured imagination of people? Take Arvind Kejriwal. Just look at the number of people who are queuing up to join the Aam Aadmi Party. That is a man, and that is an idea that has reached out and captured the pulse of the people, Sachin. How do you view the Kejriwal phenomenon? Do you not think, while Rahul says he wants youngsters to come in, while Rahul says he wants to change the system, it's the young Kejriwal who's actually being able to move that process?
Well, for one, I do not take any credit away from Mr. Kejriwal. He was an agitation leader. He formed a movement. He joined he created a political party, won the election, fair and square. And by the way, if I can just take a step back and put something on the record, it was Mr. Kejriwal and his colleagues who used to say that in this country, without money power, without muscle power, you can't be a politician, you can't succeed, you have to find wild ways to become successful. It is because of the system in this country that the Aam Aadmi Party took birth, first of all, and was able to sustain and be a successful entity.
You're not answering any of my questions.
I am answering you.
Decide what answer you want to give regardless of the question. I will ask you.
First you answer my question.
That's not the question I asked you.
Do you agree with me?
Who's doing the interview? Am I doing the interview?
I have equal stakes. I have equal stakes. But tell me, am I wrong in saying that?
No, absolutely. That's the
first
power
of
democracy. That's the why.
Then you have to stop
all of us are invested. I'm not criticizing
the systems. You see, that's what Mr.
Kejriwal is asking an important question. Do you not accept, in the response that Kejriwal is getting across the country, that his is an idea that has captured the imagination of people? When Rahul says he wants to make politics more open for Indians and get young Indians involved, it's Kejriwal who is actually executing that script.
But look at the genesis of all of this. It was a finger-pointing, allegation, negativity, criticism, all of that was leading to a movement which then became a political movement. It wasn't based on a grassroots organization which wanted to achieve something. It was a to negate certain aspects of politics. And I think he's found his space. He's got X number of seats in Delhi, and he wants to now spread all over India. And free to, why not? Why can't anybody form a party and be all over India? There are 40 parties in parliament. Let the Aam Aadmi Party be another party.
You didn't answer my question still. Do you not accept he's captured the imagination of people in the way that Rahul Gandhi wanted to?
Well, I don't know what answer you look for, Rahul Kanwalji. If the gentleman has formed a party, has fought the election, won the election, become chief minister, what more?
The Congress seems now to be using Kejriwal as a prop to counter Modi's rise in the manner in which you built up the MNS by giving Raj Thackeray a long rope before the 2009 Lok Sabha elections. In that same fashion, you're now propping up Arvind Kejriwal in the hope that he draws away from Modi's urban votes.
You must give me the source of your this fictional script writers. That
it's not fictional script writer. This is empirical evidence based on a deep dive into electoral data of the 2009 Lok Sabha elections.
That got disseminated in Delhi was the Congress party. The votes that Mr. Kejriwal took away were the Congress votes. We came down from 40 something to 8 seats. We've got the most damage in Delhi. He is criticizing our government the most, and you still think that we are propping him up.
I'll tell you why I think that, because in any case the Congress would have lost. Earlier you would have lost to the BJP, and Modi would have won with the handsome majority.
In your books we have lost. That would have happened.
That's your calculation.
Look at the history. We have lost the election to Mr. Kejriwal, not the BJP. And if the BJP
stopped the BJP from forming the government, they're stuck at 32 seats. If Kejriwal hadn't been around, they would have got much more. Isn't that the reality? Isn't that the hope now?
Mr. Modi's campaign was such an effective campaign, and there was a tsunami in the BJP's favor. Why was the BJP not in power in Delhi?
No, that's a problem BJP needs to deal with. But I'm asking you a different question. Is it not a legitimate strategy that the Congress is now working on, where you're calculating that the more Kejriwal rises, the more of the anti-Congress vote, which would have gone to the BJP, you're now hoping will go to Kejriwal?
That is a conspiracy theory. The facts are before you. The only party that got damaged, hurt and finished was the Congress in Delhi. Why would we want to damage
Because you know
more?
you're damaged, hurt and finished in the Lok Sabha elections, and you're hoping instead of Modi getting a thumping majority, you build up Kejriwal so that he can cut away Modi's votes.
Please listen to me, and I'm saying this with all the responsibility at my command. We are fighting these elections to win, not to make other people lose or win.
That is their problem. About that?
Yes.
Because people don't really perceive that. They think of Congress as a diminishing force, at least for this election.
Well, we lost the last assembly elections in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Fair enough. But I think in the next 3 or 4 months, with renewed vigor, we will come back as a fighting force that is willing to serve the people of India. And when the elections do happen, with a much stronger alliance, with much stronger sort of party agenda on our mind, we are going to the people to fight to win, to form a UPA 3. We are not fighting elections to make sure that X wins and Y loses. That's their problem. We are fighting to win our own election.
Do you think Kejriwal has the prospects of emerging as India's first genuine third force, which is non-identity driven, non-caste driven, non-region driven, as a national force which over a long run can challenge both the Congress and the BJP?
In my personal opinion, I believe that in Delhi what they were able to do was very Delhi centric. Now, I don't want to be one of those people who writes off anybody, because I think anything is possible. But this was a Delhi phenomena. It was a regional Delhi sort of a party formation that happened, and issues were quite Delhi-centric because it's a national capital. Now, how much effect they'll have in other parts of India, especially in southern and eastern, is yet to be seen. I mean, taking memberships by giving a missed call is one thing, and Mr. Kejriwal, I wish him all success if he wants to become a pan-India leader. But first, he must prove himself as a CM of Delhi, and then see what his party fares in the next elections. But like I said, we as a Congress party are fighting for our own space to be able to serve the people. What Aam Aadmi Party does, what BJP does, what Janata Dal does.
You again didn't answer my question. How do you assess, as a political analyst and a political animal, the long-term prospects of Kejriwal? Do you think he's threatening the very existence of the traditional political order?
There have been many parties in the recent decades that have come and gone. Some have been successful, some not so successful. It depends on how he performs as the Chief Minister of Delhi, because primarily people have given him the responsibility and the opportunity to demonstrate as a CM. If he's successful, which in the last few weeks, I mean, questions that's already being raised, how successful he is in his execution of his responsibility in Delhi will determine how far his party does. And also, it can't be a one-person show. He has got to develop a cadre of leaders who then become an effective political party. It's a movement, an agitation, a resistance, emotional or knee-jerk reaction is one thing, but long-term sustainability for a political party to have. And again, I don't want to be demeaning anybody. I'm not here to criticize. I'm just saying that it's yet to be seen. It's still.
But Rahul Gandhi seems to be drawing a lot of lessons from the Aam Aadmi Party, not just in the way that he's suddenly become far more interactive than he has been. He's met, for example, more journalists in the last 10 days than he met in the last 10 years. He's reaching out far more. He's far more active. So clearly, Rahul's trying to now belatedly learn from Kejriwal.
I don't think that's fair for you to say learn or unlearn from anybody. He has his own mind, his own way of working. Some people think it's less effective because he's not a chest thumping, standing in your face, shouting and screaming and taking credit for all that happens. That's not his style. But you know, the Aam Aadmi Party phenomena, I still think it's, no matter what the surveys say, how much newsprint he gets and how much coverage you people give him television, it's a new phenomena. I think it's fantastic, and only in India, by the way, that this thing could have happened. He's become the Chief Minister. I wish him all the best, but the proof of the pudding is in the eating. We'll have to see how he performs.
What did you think of the fiasco at the Jan Sunwai yesterday? You must be quite happy with the fact that his direct democracy experiment turned out to be a disaster.
I don't know what kind of people you interview, but I'm not one of those people who who's gleeful at someone else's failure. When you said the question, I mean, itself had the two words, fiasco and, I mean, I think the attempt may have been, the idea may have been noble, but the way it is conducted, I mean, you can call 1 lakh people to listen, to hear their problems, and India is a country where redressal of issues is a big problem, but how many of them were settled? I hope in the next time that he does this, it's more systematic, people get more productive answers for their problems.
But do you think
and they're able to resolve them.
You, for example, are prepared to give up the Lal Batti, that you go in as a mantri, reduce your security cavalcade? Do you think where Kejriwal says others should reduce their security detail, that's a good idea that India's Neta should really be following?
I think, let's go back in history, sobriety, humility and being connected with the people is something that the Congress party's foundations are on. Now, you can take X number of names, but ultimately, I don't think the Congress party will need lessons on simplicity.
But you aren't answering my question. You still, for example, as a young leader, have a Lal Batti, you've got a security detail, others around you have a Lal Batti and a security detail.
It's a part of the job, Rahul. I mean, like I said, I was given this job.
So you say Lal Batti is part of the job?
As a part
Why do you need a Lal Batti?
No one needs it. I'm saying it's
come. So are you prepared to give it up?
Well, there's anyway guidelines for it. And then the party asks you to work as a minister, you do that job. The party says,
I'm not asking you that question. I'm on the principle of what the Lal Batti stands for.
It's a symbol, I think, and I think the time has come for us to think about whether everybody and their brothers can use it, or they should be used only. And in my view, it should be restricted, it should be respected, and protocol, whether it's president or prime minister, there should be some systematic.
No, but do ministers like you need a Lal Batti? Do you argue for you as a minister continuing to use the Lal Batti?
As a minister in the government of India,
yes.
See, but the question is, the minister is not one person. It's a position. Tomorrow somebody else will be the minister.
No, I'm asking you
the larger question. I'm of the opinion that it should be restricted to very few people in the whole of India, whether it's CMs, the PMs, the presidents.
And not ministers of state, for example.
That decision should be taken with full consensus of everybody.
No, but why are you shying away from taking a position? Are you prepared to say that I, Sachin Pilot, believe that I don't need that Lal Batti?
I don't think one needs it. I mean, if you're in government, but yes, there are certain procedures. If you're the Vice President of India or the President of India, then there is certain symbolism that you have to have.
So you're saying only the President and the Vice President, the Prime Minister need it, the other Minister, Home Minister, Finance Minister don't need it, and going down, nobody else needs it.
Why don't I can speak for myself? Yes. I shouldn't speak for everybody else, but I think we must curtail the overtly symbolic legacy that we've inherited for the last few decades, and the time has come. One must adapt as to what the needs and what people expect, and one must not shy away by changing things that are going to make your position more palatable with the people of India.
Thank you very much, Sachin Pilot, for joining us on Headlines today. Thank you.